Kendrick Lamar. I'm sure a lot of you have gotten into his music because of recent events, and it may be hard to know where to start with his music, especially considering that he's got so many amazing tracks and is easily one of the best rappers of our generation and of all time. So I've compiled a list of 10 essential Kendrick Lamar songs. These are going to be 10 songs that either display his different styles and his versatility. I'll do my best to cover this in 10 songs. It'll include some fan favorite tracks and songs that his fanbase generally praises as some of his best, and also some of my personal favorites as well, or songs that I feel like are underrated and deserve praise. And there's only one rule: I can't include songs that are too popular, such as Alright or Mad City or something like that, or any song in his top 5 on Spotify. Although currently that's a little bit of a mess because, well, you know why. But yeah, this list is going to be in chronological order, so it's not a ranking, it's just a list of 10 Kendrick Lamar songs that I feel are essential, and I'm going to explain why. Without further ado, let's get into the first track. Alright, so the first song on this list is going to be Rigor Mortis off of Section 80. And this is on here because it's one of the songs where Kendrick displays just how good of an MC he really is. The main point of this song is for him to show off how good of a rapper he is. No real meaning behind it, just him making clever lines and rhymes with insane flows throughout the whole track. The instrumental is very fun, reflecting well on the whole feel of the song. We have a very nice sax melody, and the whole track does feel very jazzy and bouncy, as well as due to the drums and the very deep, hard-hitting kick, and also the bass on this song. It's done very well and it's very present. But yeah, it's a colorful, jazzy, bouncy track where Kendrick just goes off, showing off that he's an insane technical rapper, and he can rap for ages because he's got the lung capacity of a killer whale. I don't even know if they have a big lung capacity, I assume so because they're such a big creature. And yeah, his rhyme schemes are absolutely insane on this song. I mean, just look at this breakdown of all the syllables in the rhymes.
Wrestling, that's irrelevant. Rather rest at your residence, whistling to the melody.
Rigor Mortis is very impressive to listen to, and that's why it's on this list. For the second track I picked out, it's Backseat Freestyle for a couple of reasons, but the main one is being that I feel like it is the most raw Kendrick Lamar song, or at least one of them. It's just very dirty and grimy, and Kendrick doesn't necessarily have many of those. He does have a few, but I feel like this is the song that it captures that the best. Such a simple song structure, and the instrumental is actually not busy at all. It's one of his most wide open instrumentals, which works well for a freestyle, which it is. I actually don't think it's a freestyle, it's just named that to fit the story of Good Kid Maad City, but anyways. Kendrick has some funny lines on here saying he wants to fuck the world for 72 hours and he prays his dick gets as big as the Eiffel Tower. The whole chorus is literally just him saying that he's got money and bitches and how he wants to fuck the world. It does feel like a freestyle, which just further adds to this whole raw, dirty aesthetic of this song. You can't tell me you look at the van on the cover art of Good Kid Maad City and can't imagine Kendrick and his friends in the backseat freestyling this song. Like this being the freestyle that they're freestyling. Just imagine it. It works so well. It paints such a good image. But yeah, that's why it's on here. Dark and dirty instrumental, wide open for Kendrick to do his thing, nasty sounding, with Kendrick being a little goofy while having fun bars and also slick rapping. Well, this had to be on here, didn't it? Probably what many Kendrick fans would say is his best song. If not, then definitely one of his best. This is one of his saddest songs content-wise and sound-wise, and I think it displays his ability as a storyteller best. That's the main reason this song is on this list, and what makes it one of his best songs: his storytelling. Kendrick Lamar uses different perspectives to really make this song work. The first verse being from the perspective of one of his friends, a young black boy who's caught up in the street life, wanting an escape from that lifestyle after the death of his brother caused by that type of life, but is afraid of the consequences. The second verse is from the perspective of Keisha's sister, a character from Kendrick Lamar's Section 80, further proving that he's just an insane storyteller. She introduces her situation to Kendrick and is mad at Kendrick for not completely understanding Keisha and being ignorant of her situation. And the third verse is from Kendrick Lamar's perspective, talking about the events in the tracks, as well as just generally about death and questioning his own morals and if what he's doing is right by making music about these scenarios and people. That's just a very brief breakdown of it. I could speak about this song for hours, but yeah, it displays Kendrick's ability as a storyteller over a sad sounding instrumental with repetitive yet stinging drums and such a chilled out piano melody. One of the greatest songs of all time, no doubt. Amazing rapping and storytelling from Kendrick that really connects with you and gets you in your thoughts and feels.
Hit me! When the
Not only is it one of Kendrick's most progressive, interesting, and well-developed tracks, it's probably his best intro and one of the best intros ever on any album. I mean, this is insane. This song builds up in such an interesting way and introduces the Pimp A Butterfly so well. From the sample at the start, to the intro once the instrumental comes in, to the jazzy, all over the place chorus, to the verses from different perspectives. I mean, this track really covers it all. Kendrick Lamar does so much with his voice here, showing off his character and changing up his tone and delivery a lot. Also, Kendrick has some of his best rapping on here, setting the scene so well. You can imagine the scenes he's painting with his verses. Content-wise, this song is about how America exploits people, black people more specifically, who have newfound success and wealth, encouraging them to spend more and more. Of course, this fits very well into the album, and that's why I say it opens up the Pimp Butterfly so well, but the instrumental and the sound of the song as well. Oh my god. It's so jazzy and all over the place, like this whole album is, but this might be the messiest track on it. Thundercat does amazing here. We have so many melodies that just harmonize so well with each other, and the way everything builds up slowly yet chaotically works so well on this song. So yeah, one of his most wild tracks, and for sure his best intro, as well as a fan favorite. So that's why Wesleys Theory is so good and deserves to be on this list. This is definitely Kendrick Lamar's saddest song to me, and that's why it's on this list. Kendrick before has said that this was the hardest song to write, and there's some very dark and depressing moments on there. And there definitely is. This song talks about depression and the darkest thoughts of Kendrick Lamar. It's a big contrast sound-wise on the album, and a massive contrast compared to the song I, which is done on purpose. This is a very deep song to look into lyrically. He talks about death, people close to him, his past actions, his trauma, his depression. Everything really breaks down his whole character, his insecurities, everything about him, everything that he hates about him, criticizes himself so much. It's really something to dig into, so if you're listening to the song for the first time, brace yourself. Sonically, it's one of his most ambitious songs as well, having one of the more interesting beat switches I've heard, and it's a complete switch up. On the first half, the drums and the percussion is done very well and it's very slight, while a lot of different brass instruments and keys can be heard being hectic, panicked sounding, if that makes any sense. The whole song sounds very on edge. Kendrick delivers vocally as well, having a very aggressive, angry delivery and cadence, and showing off that he's got one of the best voices in hip-hop in terms of how impactful he is on the track. The second half sounds a bit slower, although still plenty of brass instruments and keys, as well as some very nice, deep, bassy synths or a bass guitar. I can't quite tell what it is, honestly. I'm gonna assume that it's a bass guitar. Kendrick really impresses vocally here. You can hear him crying, screaming, and letting his heart out throughout the whole verse, being extremely harsh and direct, straight to the point, drinking throughout the verse. It really is one of his most impactful moments. Definitely his saddest song to me, and that's why it's on this list. It's something to look into, and honestly, I may just make a whole video on it, but for now, let's leave it at that. This track is on here because it's a huge fan favorite, and maybe the angriest sounding Kendrick Lamar song. From the title, you can pick up what the song is about. It's based off of the saying, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, which is also the bridge on this song. But the way Kendrick Lamar comes in on here, oh my god, he's so angry. One of his most impressive performances, from the delivery to the flow, the writing, everything fits so well. The song is about how black people have been viewed and treated, the anger it spawns in Kendrick, and him going against everything, saying he's proud of his race and who he is. The song structure is quite linear, and he also starts his verses the same way. I'm the biggest hypocrite of 2015. Once I finish this, witnesses will convey just what I mean, which is a nice little touch. The instrumental fits the song perfectly. It's so harsh and hard-hitting. Honestly, maybe the hardest hitting drum Kendrick has had on any song of his. The melody seems to be this rough and rigid, drowned down electric guitar. Really unique and cool. I think this song was heavily inspired by the shooting of Trayvon Martin, which Kendrick directly mentions on this song. So yeah, definitely a fan favorite Kendrick song, and one of his roughest, angriest tracks. And that's why it's on here. Mortal Man is probably Kendrick Lamar's best outro. If not, it's definitely the most interesting outro of his. Not only is the song part of this track incredible, the sound is so full and fulfilling while the drums are hard hitting. Kendrick has a strong presence on the beat and some amazing flows and amazing writing. The big highlight on this song is the outro. And spoiler alert, if you haven't heard the Pimp A Butterfly yet, I strongly recommend you skip this part of the video, as I spoil quite a bit about the album, and I think it will be best for you to experience this song and album for the first time without any any spoilers, so I'm gonna have a time on the screen to where you can skip to if you don't want to spoil yourself, but here I go. The second half of this song is the Tupac interview. Throughout the whole album, Kendrick Lamar has these little bits and pieces of a poem, and it's kind of just building on itself as the album goes on, but it doesn't fully make sense until this moment. The whole album leads to this point where Kendrick Lamar transitions the poem into an interview with Tupac. Like, what the fuck is this guy on? What has happened? It's a full-blown 6-minute interview where he works the poem into the interview with Tupac, asks him questions, and makes it seem as if he's having a conversation with Tupac, which is all related to the topic and concept of the Pimp A Butterfly. And it just ties the whole album together beautifully. But yeah, because it's Kendrick Lamar's best outro, and I feel like it ties the whole album together so well, Mortal Man is gonna be on this list. Pride is on here because I feel like it's one of his most psychedelic and cool sounding songs and one of my personal favorites, so I had to include it. Pride is an extremely soft sounding track with kicks that overpower the instrumental. The main focus of this track for me is the sound. The main melody is a guitar that sounds drowned out, but I really like it. The whole track sounds very drowned out. We have a bass guitar coming in as his verses go on, and that adds even more texture to the instrumental. The best way to describe this song would be well textured in my opinion. We have singing vocals from Kendrick on here, as well as angelic vocals from Steve Lacy and Anna Wise. Steve Lacy plays a big part in this song, and honestly I feel like his contribution on this song is one of my favorite things he's ever done. Near the end, Anna Wise's vocals add so much and really give this song a climactic ending, making the whole drowsy journey, which is this song, feel worth it. The track is a deep and weird breakdown of Kendrick Lamar and the world, admitting that he's not perfect, saying, "In a perfect world, I would be perfect world," acknowledging some of his inherent negative aspects and rolling with them as if they're okay because nobody is perfect, digging into his own pride. But on the second verse, he breaks down his ego and pride. Even from his vocals being low the whole time, you can tell he's more hurt, more destroyed as his ego is broken down, as he realizes how bad his pride has impacted him and how pride impacts humans is one of the deadly sins. Definitely one of his smoothest and most psychedelic songs, and that's why it's an essential and why it's on this list. This track is on here because I really wanted to share my love for it. In my opinion, it's one of Kendrick's most underrated tracks, if not the most underrated Kendrick Lamar track. From the content of the song to the production elements and structure of the song, it is definitely one of his most unique and dynamic songs. Structure-wise, it is one of his weirdest. The track begins with an extremely long-winded chorus, but I feel like it works very well. Later, it transitions into this kind of break or interlude, with Kendrick Lamar getting cut off by a vocal sample, which sounds very mysterious, honestly. We get to Kendrick's verse just for it to get interrupted by the same interlude, so far extremely weird. He begins his verse again and interrupts himself this time to restart the verse. What is going on? We get two verses back to back and then get back to the long-winded chorus, and the last verse sees a bunch of change-ups in the instrumental. Very progressive and dynamic track, one of his most progressive for sure. Some of the choices of sound are great too. The main melody is a very simple guitar melody. We seem to have some hollow vocals as well in the background at some points. The drums are reversed as well, which just adds to this weird aspect of this song. Subject matter is very interesting too. It talks about the repetitiveness of life, which is why I love the repetitiveness at the beginning with the sample, and the focus is a lot on people's desires and their lust, hence why it is named Lust. Again, one of the 7 deadly sins, which Damn seems to focus on. Very cool track, one of my personal favorites and one of his most underrated, which is why it's on this list. I wasn't sure whether to include this or not because it's not really an album track, but it's technically on Mr. Morale, so I'm gonna include it. Don't be mad at me, please. Okay, thank you. It's on here because I think it is a perfect display of jazz rap and one of his jazziest and best songs. One of his best written tracks too. It's basically a song going over everything that is normalized as culture nowadays, which shouldn't be, speaking from many different perspectives in the track. The music video is so creative with the deep fakes of the faces on the people, and also the part with Nipsey Hussle is so cool. Definitely one of my favorite parts of the track. This is the definition of jazz rap. I don't give a fuck. This is one of Kendrick's jazziest tracks and one of the best jazz rap songs ever. It's so jazzy and smooth. We have moments of a guitar every now and then. The percussion is really smooth and it sounds very live. The whole track sounds very live, I have to say. It's so pure, and honestly, listening to this on open back headphones is unreal. The bass guitar is very present throughout the track and it sounds very nice. There's moments of horns coming in, different types of trumpets and brass instruments as well. It sounds so vibrant and full of life. It's one of his most beautiful songs that I feel like I had to include it on this list. When the strings come in, it sounds so bright, honestly. It's one of Kendrick's best produced tracks. So jazzy, smooth, with so much content and amazing rapping from Kendrick. It's one of his most beautiful songs and I feel like I just had to put it on this list. And yeah, that is gonna be my list of the 10 essential Kendrick Lamar songs. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with my list? What do you think of some of my placements and reasons as to why certain songs made it and certain songs didn't? What is your list? What songs would you swap on my list? And yeah, please make sure you like and subscribe. That will mean so much to me, as it'll help push my video and my channel into the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Peace.